Good afternoon, everybody. We'll go ahead and call the Senate Committee on Growth and Infrastructure to order. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Senator Hammond? Here. Senator Hansen?
Here.
Senator Vazina?
Present.
Senator Spearman? Here. Chair Harris?
Here, thank you. Let's note that all members are present, so we have a quorum. On our agenda today are two bills, Senate Bill 250 and Senate Bill 422. We're going to take them in reverse order and do the exciting one first. Not that we don't all love catalytic converters, Senator Orenshaw. And so with that, I'll go ahead and just open up the hearing on Senate Bill 422 and welcome Dr. Keith Rogers as well as Miss Eileen Zong to the table. Welcome. You all can go ahead and begin whenever you're ready.
Perfect. Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Eileen Zong, and I serve as the Director of Government Affairs at Starship Technologies. And I want to thank Chair Harris for bringing this bill forward, SB 422. It is an honor to be able to co-present in this committee alongside Dr. Rogers from UNLV. Starship Technologies is the leading provider of autonomous food delivery with our personal delivery devices, or as we call them, PDDs for short, completing over 4 million autonomous food deliveries across the world. PDDs are all-electric, low-speed, low-mass devices that travel at about walking speeds and are about 75 pounds approximately, as you can see right next to me. These devices are typically utilized for food, grocery, retail, and university deliveries on campus. Safety is paramount to our operations, where PDDs successfully cross over 140,000 roads every single day and have encountered millions and millions of people. The PDDs have a bubble of awareness, which include cameras, sensors, and a whole neural network that allows it to see the world and safely navigate. Additionally, remote assistance can be activated by the PDD if it is necessary. Currently, Starship operates in over 50 jurisdictions across the world in 6 different countries, including the US, and operates in over 35 university campuses all across the US. These services have been proven beneficial to students as they are exposed to autonomous technology, while some are even employed by Starship to work on this emerging technology, building skills that they can take with them for future roles. Additionally, 24 states across the country and DC have passed similar legislation in the past few years that provide a framework for PDD operations. At UNLV, operations began last year, but expansion and access for students have been confined to one small area of campus. This limitation exists because Clark County believes that they do not have the permitting authority to grant operations to cross streets and utilize the sidewalks beyond the confined areas of campus, meaning there are a lot of students that are unable to access this service. Since then, we have worked hand in hand with Clark County to develop language for a statewide framework. Senate Bill 422 will provide state guidance and a framework for local jurisdictions for this emerging technology. Specifically, this bill will ensure that PDDs have the ability to operate in pedestrian areas, including sidewalks and crosswalks. This bill also includes requirements such as traveling under 10 miles per hour, not interfering with pedestrians or traffic, and requires operators to maintain a minimum liability insurance of $100,000. But most importantly, this bill will allow for local jurisdictions to maintain their authority to limit where operations can occur, and local law enforcement also maintain their authority to enforce traffic laws. Thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate your consideration of this bill, and I'm happy to take any questions, or I'll pass it over to Dr. Rogers.
Thank you. Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Keith Rogers, Interim Vice President for Student Affairs. As Aileen mentioned, in terms of our vision for food services, our goal is to really increase access to affordable food safely for all of our students. Currently, our students on campus have access to this technology. It's been a tremendous asset to being able to deliver food to all of our students across campus. As you may be familiar with the campus, we do have on our STEM side of campus very limited food options there. And this has been instrumental in making food available to those students to not have to walk to the student union or the dining commons where the majority of food services reside on the campus. We're talking about 10,000 plus students on that side of campus where it has been challenging for us to make food available to them within their class schedules, to not have to go there standing in long lines. So the current adoption has been tremendous. And where we see the next need is we have over 3,000 students who are currently would be impacted positively if this passes to be able to access food services at our U District location, at the Gateway location, and also at the Echo location. Additionally, we have a lot of staff members who are on remote parts of the campus where currently the robots cannot cross those streets and sidewalks to be able to deliver food is there as well. And the other thing we realized from a survey with some of our students who live in the U District is that they are having food delivered through Grubhub and other technology, but they're paying 2 to 3 times as much in delivery fees from what would be available through this technology. Additionally, we know that we look at it from a safety standpoint. A lot of our students, through the late night, we're trying to make available more food options for students who are taking night classes, students who are participating in our late night dining experience. And this technology will really allow us to expand that program, not just for the students on campus, but also for our students who are residing in the nearby housing locations. Thank you. That concludes my comments.
Okay, great. Thank you both so much for being here. Committee members, do we have questions? Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do these things have catalytic converters? Just kidding.
Senator Pizzina.
Thank you so much, Chair, and thank you so much for the presentation and the very cool exhibit. I was wondering if, and I apologize if this was in the bill and I missed it, is there any kind of permitting system for these devices?
Eileen Zong from Starship Technologies for the record. The permitting will be up to the local jurisdiction. So, for example, Clark County that oversees UNLV will be able to provide a permit if they so choose. So the first step would be to reach out to that local jurisdiction and request operations, and whether or not they require a permit will be on the specific jurisdiction itself.
Senator Spearman.
Thank you, and thank you all for the presentation. Just a real quick question. I know there are a couple of jobs that are going to be extinct by the end of this decade, and delivery services going to be one of them. So my question is, this is a wonderful display. Do you all have any courses, classes, or something like that on campus that would teach students how to either build, fix, modify, or something like that? I mean, if you have this kind of technology and know that it's available, somebody may want to learn how to do that. So, just my question.
Keith Rogers, Interim Vice President for UNLV, for the record. Yes, we do have various programs through our STEM areas. In particular, we have a very robust robotics program, and through our engineering college where, students are building these very things, not just ones that move, but also robots to be able to do various other tasks as well. So this is definitely something that's strongly currently integrated into various curriculum across campus.
Senator Hammond.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, quick question for you. You were talking about the abilities that the robot has in navigating around all the pedestrian traffic as well as crossing streets and knowing where it's at. Does it have video capability? And if so, is it limited once it gets into perhaps a private area?
So what's special about our technology is, yes, there are about 12 cameras all around the robot itself so that it can see and navigate the world, but we have proprietary technology that's patented that allows the robot to safely navigate. But what happens is above the knee, the video quality is actually very blurred, so you can't actually tell when you're receiving the image what is above the knee. So the images are captured, but we capture them in a way that where when it's returned to the Starship, you cannot see above the knee.
A follow-up, Madam Chair. So even if so it's delivering, there's probably no reason to go into a private area, but I guess what I'm asking is, do you have the capability of shutting the cameras off if it's in an area, or shutting off sound? I'm just trying to figure out what you can and cannot do remotely. Because again, I know what you're saying, that you can't see anything above the knee, but it's still there if you're in a private area.
I guess the question would really be around like the person who requested the delivery, right? Like the private area, then it would be incumbent upon the person who requested the delivery to maybe not be in that specific area. But more importantly, if there is an area that is sensitive or should not be captured on video at all, that is something we can remove from the route.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
Because there is going to be an occasion when that might happen, but it's really up to that person, because you have no other reason to be in an area. It's all going to be out in the open.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Any additional questions? Okay, you guys can step back and we will go ahead and then open it up for testimony. Anyone here in Carson City wants to testify in support of Senate Bill 422, go ahead and take your seat. And you can go ahead and begin whenever you are ready.
Thank you very much, Chair and Vice Chair and members of the committee. Keith Whitfield, President of UNLV for the record. It's kind of cool, right? But past the cool factor, it's not even the future. This is what's going on now. I think what was described to you is about the food service needs of our campus. In part, that's the cultural piece of how students are actually consuming food and getting food. But as well, it fits very well into our larger plans to be able to expand where the university actually is. Right now, one of our main thoroughfares, I know you all know UNLV, Maryland Parkway. This would allow food service to be able to traverse Maryland Parkway, which is very important for our future plans, and for, we already have a couple of pieces of land that need to be developed, but will be developed, and we'll have students on the other side, have faculty and staff on the other side of Maryland Parkway. And so this is something that then fits into the lifestyle and to the activities that are the normal activities that the university actually does. So with that, I offer my support for this particular bill. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chair Harris and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Nick Schneider, representing the Vegas Chamber. The Vegas Chamber is in support of SB 422, as this legislation supports an emerging and innovative sector, not only by distinguishing this PDD from the standard definition of a vehicle, but also ascribing it the same rights and duties as a pedestrian. We also support that SB 422 provides clear guidelines as to how to operate within that sector. Thank you for your time.
Madam Chair, Michael Flores, on behalf of the University of Nevada, Reno, and happy UNLV Day. And just wanted to lend our support. We've had this technology on our campus for a couple of years now, and it's been really successful. Students really utilize this. Faculty and staff utilize it. I order coffees from it. It's been really successful, and I know it'll be wildly successful at UNLV as well, in addition to what they're already doing. So thank you.
Okay, is there anyone in Las Vegas who wants to testify in support of Senate Bill 422? Okay, BPS, oh, we've got a taker.
Good afternoon, Chair and honorable members of the committee. My name is Kevin Koho'ohonohono. I am a student of UNLV, and I'm here today to express my support of Senate Bill 422. This bill will help students like me gain access to innovative delivery services on campus. Currently, these operations are limited to only one part of campus and are unable to reach dorms and other areas of the full campus, which creates unequitable access. These delivery robots not only are cost-saving, but they also minimize the risk factor for students who order food late at night, especially since certain areas around our campus tend to have a little bit of a higher crime rate and a lot more homelessness. For these reasons, I support this bill and respectfully request your favorable consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you step away, could you do us a favor and just spell your last name for us so we make sure we get it correct on the record?
That'll be Kahoohanohano.
Thank you. All right, if there's no one else in Las Vegas, BPS, can we check the phone, see if there's anyone who wants to testify in support of Senate Bill 422?
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers at this time.
Okay, we'll go back down to Las Vegas because it looks like there's someone else who wants to testify in support. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chair and the honorable members of the committee. My name is Caitlin Hawkins, and I am a marketing student at UNLV. Every day on campus, thousands of students like me utilize dining dollars for everyday meals. I express my support of Senate Bill 422 as it will grant students access to food living off-campus housing areas across the street. For these reasons, I support this bill and respectfully request your favorable consideration. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else in Las Vegas? Yes, okay. Go ahead and take both seats at the same time. It's okay. We're all friendly here.
Hello, the chair and the committee. My name is Ariana Ortiz, and I am a fine arts major at UNLV, and I am here today in support of Bill 422. I live in the Tonopah complex on campus, in which me and my roommate have actually ordered from the Grubhub robots before. And from my experience, they are much more polite than average delivery people you get today. They talk to you when you get your order, and they even when you receive it, and they even talk to you and wish you a good rest of your day when they leave, which is very lacking in most days' hospitality service. I also work at the Coffee Bean location on campus in the lead library. And as a worker there, I have put orders in the Grubhub robots before. They are very cute and they're very polite, and most people that I know really enjoy being able to order from them. Most students on campus do like filming them and taking pictures with them as they go about on their journey to deliver food, and it's a very nice way of bringing the community together on the campus. However, there are some places that students live at on campus that are actually mainly across the street from other dorms on campus that are unable to get these accommodations. For example, the Echo 1055, which is across the street from the Dayton complex and the South complex, which are different locations on campus in which students live in, but they can't get access to the same food and things that we have living on the campus just because they are across the street. Same thing for the U, which is across the street from UCC and Upperclassmen complex and the Tonopah complex in which I reside in. And the Degree is across the street from the Judy Bailey Theater area by the monument, the flashlight. So passing this bill will be cheaper for those students because rent is expensive and we are poor college kids just trying to get through our school days. So it will enhance that and have money saved for other things like necessities and other things that we need for campus. Thank you.
Go for it.
Good afternoon, Chair and honorable members of the committee. My name is Zachary Harding. I'm a student at UNLV, and I'm here to express my support for Senate Bill 422. I'm a student who lives on campus. I live in an area that also does not support the Grubhub robots. So I need to have, if I want to order food, it has to be delivered to a location nearby campus that does support it, but that also involves going out at night if I do happen to order from the Grubhub. I have to go out at night and cross the street, which is also in a not very great area of Las Vegas with a lot of homelessness and crime on it all the time. So I have to leave my apartment complex, the Degree, and have my food delivered nearby, which can be very unsafe and dangerous, especially later in the night around midnight. As a student at UNLV, I should be able to utilize these services just as much as any other student. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else in Las Vegas? Last call. Okay, and I don't think we had anyone on the phone to support, and so we will come back here to Carson City and see if there's anyone who'd like to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 422. Okay, anyone in Las Vegas who wants to testify in opposition? And BPS, will you please check the phone lines? See if there's anyone who wants to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 422.
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers at this time.
All right, how about the neutral position? Anyone here in Carson City want to testify in neutral?
Hi, Chair, members of the committee. My name is Ashley Garza Kennedy, representing Clark County. And I first want to thank Starship and UNLV and Grubhub for working with Clark County before session started on this legislation. I will admit that some of our departments did have some initial concerns in relation to traffic safety and pedestrian safety, but I think that we negotiated together and worked collaboratively to get to a place that we are in a neutral position and we think allows local authorities such as ourselves the ability to regulate these in a manner in which makes sense for our individual communities. So just wanted to put that on the record. Yes.
Senator Pezzina.
Thank you so much, Chair. I had asked about permitting earlier, and that was really more of a question for you. Does Clark County have any permitting just to ensure the safety?
Yes, Ashley Garza Kennedy with Clark County. So the intent would that this would be a Starship or any other model that comes after Starship with similar technology would have a business license similar to any other business that operates in the county.
Yes, Senator Hammond.
I'd like to follow up on that, and if I could, Madam Chair. So you have a permitting process, licensing process. What's required to make sure? What are you guys looking for to make sure that they can get the license? Because I'm still having it. I know that it's been around because I just heard everybody say they've been using it for a while. I'm just looking at this thing going, how does it cross the street, right? How does it know when to cross the street? And they got all these cameras and it tells them. And is that what you're looking for? I mean, are you looking for safety features to make sure that it does that? And so as soon as you license it, then we're assured that everything's good.
Yes, so Ashley Garza Kennedy with Clark County again. The intent is that with the way that the bill is written, that local authorities have the ability to regulate time, place, and manner. So we would establish ordinances. Each local jurisdiction would be responsible for that, for determining. I think the bill outlines kind of a rough outline, but it doesn't mean that counties or cities couldn't address additional safety standards. And I will defer to Starship as far as the technology, but at least from my understanding is Starship operates in an operating area. So it is designed to go in only the areas that it has been programmed to go. So for Clark County, we would, in our ordinance process, we would determine what those areas are based off of our own assessment of where this would safely operate on crosswalks and sidewalks.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, anyone testifying in the neutral position in Las Vegas? Okay, not seeing anyone. BPS, can we check the phones one last time, please?
Yes, Chair. There are no callers at this time.
All right, we will bring it back here then. Do the presenters want to make any closing comments? Not required. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and close out the hearing on Senate Bill 422 and open up the hearing on Senate Bill 250 and welcome our colleague, Senator Orenshaw.
Good afternoon, Chair Harris and members of the Senate Committee on Growth and Infrastructure. For the record, my name is James Orenshaw. I represent Senate District 21 down in Southern Nevada. And my bill, Senate Bill 250, has to do with catalytic converters. I don't think the robot has one of those, but many of our vehicles do. And Senate Bill 250 arose from a really rising problem that around the country, but especially prevalent down in Southern Nevada, and that my constituents reached out to me about the theft of catalytic converters, whether it's private individuals' cars or even fleets of cars. I've talked with constituents who've mentioned to me that they've had a whole fleet of cars parked where someone came and was able to quickly remove many of the catalytic converters parked there. So in talking with my constituents and trying to come up with a solution, we bounced around different ideas. And of course, as we were talking, if someone gets under my car or any of your cars that try to remove the catalytic converter, they know they're breaking the law. They know there are already laws against that, theft and vandalism statutes. And the goal of Senate Bill 250 was really to try to affect that resale market and try to dissuade folks who steal catalytic converters from being able to sell them in that resale market. And I believe Senate Bill 250 really has the potential to accomplish that, to try to make it much more difficult to sell these and thereby to lessen the incentive for anyone to steal someone's catalytic converter. And I'd like to just briefly kind of go through the measure. Senate Bill 250 revises a number of provisions to address the theft of catalytic converters in Nevada. The bill prohibits the sale or purchase of used catalytic converters by any person other than a licensed automobile wrecker or scrap metal processor, a licensed motor vehicle manufacturer, distribution dealer, or rebuilder, any business that may reasonably possess or sell used catalytic converters, or a person who possesses certain documentation that proves the person is the lawful owner of the catalytic converter. The bill requires a scrap metal processor to maintain various records and documentation related to the sale and purchase of used catalytic converters that includes detailed information that proves that the person who sold the catalytic converter to them was the lawful owner of that catalytic converter. In the case of purchasing a catalytic converter from a person, that person must possess documentation such as the certificate of title or registration with the vehicle identification number from the vehicle that the part was removed from that matches the VIN that under Senate Bill 250 would be permanently marked on that catalytic converter. The bill also includes a requirement that payment for that part be made by check and mailed to the individual or business. So I just want to be clear, this is not going to require that everyone has to get their catalytic converter permanently marked or etched with a VIN number. But if, let's say, I was in a desperate situation where I needed to try to raise money and I wanted to remove the catalytic converter from my car and sell it, I would have to get it permanently etched to match the VIN number if the person wanted to legally buy it under SB 250. So it's not going to require that everyone get their catalytic converter permanently marked with the VIN number, only if you desire to try to sell it. Finally, the bill establishes fines for violation of this prohibition, which would be a misdemeanor offense. The fines would start at $1,000 for the first offense, $2,000 for the second offense, $4,000 for any subsequent offense. Section 10 of the bill authorizes a court to issue an injunction prohibiting that person from engaging in the business of scrap metal processor. For a first or second offense, this would be for not less than 30 days. For a third or subsequent offense, for a period of 1 year. So I feel that Senate Bill 250 really has the potential to try to get to that resale market. And if someone is purchasing catalytic converter that's questionable, there are remedies here in terms of the fines and possible closure of the business for up to 30 days or even up to a year if it's a repeat offense. With that, Chair, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Committee members, Senator Hansen.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I see Senator Wynn is a co-sponsor on this with you. You just sat in the hearing, and Chair Harris did too, of her bill on almost the same issue. What is there a difference between the two bills, or?
To you and through you, Chair, to Senator Hansen. I'm a co-sponsor.
You can go directly, Senator.
Thank you, Chair. Senator Hansen, I'm a co-sponsor of Senator Wynn's bill, and she's a co-sponsor of mine. And this is one of those issues where different groups of constituents approached us separately, and I don't think we realized we were working on the same issue till very, very close to session. And my discussions with her, I think I don't want to speak for her, but I feel like Senate Bill 250 complements her legislation and vice versa. I know her legislation is very comprehensive and targeted. I think in some ways, in many ways, the person who is trying to take that catalytic converter, and I'm going a little bit more after the resale market, I do feel they complement each other, and I don't believe there's any conflict between the two bills. So I'm a co-sponsor of her bills, and that was heard, I think, in Judiciary Committee, and this one, because it deals more with the resellers, I believe came to the Growth and Infrastructure Committee.
Very good. Well, I see the same groups of cops and auto folks here to support it. So I'm sure between the two bills, we're going to get to the bottom of the catalytic converter crisis.
Chair, with your indulgence, I hope they're here to support. We'll see. But
thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Additional questions? Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up for testimony then. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you.
All right, if you're here to testify in support of Senate Bill 250, oh, good news, Senator Orenshaw. Yeah. Go ahead and take your seat. Don't forget to state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee, and staff. My name is Rick McCann, MCCANN. I'm with the Nevada Association of Public Safety Officers and a member of the Nevada Law Enforcement Coalition. Our group represents the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicle Criminal Investigators. They're part of a task force that is assigned to investigate these thefts of CAT converters. They provide investigative services, background investigations, and vehicle tracking data. I consulted with them before coming up here because I ain't the cop. I'm not the guy who goes out there and does this stuff. They do. So I figured they were the experts. I'm just their mouthpiece. They've asked me to be up here to say that even their non-sworn people, the non-cops, if you will, they take their state rides home. Why? Because in virtually every case at DMV offices around the state, people have gone in and stole their catalytic converters off the vehicles. Even at DMV, the investigators. I mean, it's not funny, but it's kind of funny. I mean, nobody is safe with this stuff. This is another useful tool, my people believe, for law enforcement to use against these perpetrators who sell, operative term is to sell, the resale market of these CAT converters. And as a result, we support AB 250 and ask that you do the same. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is John Abel. For the record, represent LVPPA, Governmental Affairs Director, and PSAN. We are in full support of this bill. Obviously, catalytic converters it's a growing monster in Clark County. I've been a cop for 16 years. I can't ever think of a reason why. I've never seen a catalytic converter in someone's car, like in their back seat or anything like that. So if they have them, I'd assume they probably stole them. That being said, we have to take away the market for this crime, like the saying we did with copper theft. This is a way to do that, so we fully support this bill. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. My name is Scott Edwards. I'm the president of the Las Vegas Peace Officers Association. We represent the corrections officers and sergeants at the City of Las Vegas Jail. I'll just echo ditto on their positions.
Good afternoon, Chair Harris, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Nick Schneider, representing the Vegas Chamber, and I'd like to thank those that spoke before me. I'd like to ditto that as well, and as the senator had highlighted, we do really appreciate how this is a complement to similar legislation that we heard just last week. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Harris, members of the committee. My name is Arelia Alarcon, spelled Arelialarcon, and I am here to testify in support of Senate Bill 250 on behalf of COPART. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Spearman, members of the committee. For the record, Andrew McKay, Executive Director of the Franchise Auto Dealers Association. As Senator Hansen mentioned, this is kind of somewhat deja vu, I think. But I don't want to diminish the fact that, and I wholeheartedly agree, I believe these bills are complementary in nature. This is a serious, serious problem, one that we have with our state association conjunction with our national association have attempted to tackle. Just an interesting statistic to show how chronic of an issue this is. Between 2019 and 2022, according to the National Insurance Crime Bureau, they estimate catalytic converter theft has increased 1,215%. That's huge. But what does that ultimately mean to your constituents, my fellow citizens? It's a serious hit in the pocketbook. When you look in terms of what the precious metals that go into these catalytic converters, and it's funny, I just pulled it up as compared to where it was last week. Palladium went from $1,291 an ounce to $1,426 an ounce in a week's time. That's what these thieves are attempting to go after. With respect to the members that I have, one dealer that I spoke to has provided repairs exceeding $40,000 for catalytic converter thefts for their customers. This was just in 2022. Further, the dealership alone suffered $27,000 in losses of catalytic converters that were stolen off of the vehicles, either by fleet vehicles operated by the dealer or vehicles that were for sale. And further had about $20,000 in damage to the gates. So to the committee, would seriously encourage your consideration and passage of this bill, and want to thank Senator Orenshaw for recognizing this problem and what I believe truly is a solution to this problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Committee. For the record, my name is Terry Graves. I'm representing the Nevada Trucking Association, Nevada Manufacturing Association, and I also represent two scrap metal processors, one in North Las Vegas, Engine Quest, and one in Sparks, Nevada, Western Metals Recycling. Part of the, I'd address the two bills. They are complementary, I think. Senator Orenshaw's bill, this one, 250, more addresses the folks like my scrap metal processor client, and address the issue whether they ought to be buying from an appropriate seller. 243, which is Senator Nugent Wynn's bill, more goes after the theft itself, and it's based on possession. So if this robot here had a used catalytic converter in it, it would have to be arrested. And I'm not going to debate with you, Senator Harris, whether it'd be arrested or not. But that's basically the two sides of both bills. So they are complementary. One deals with the buyer, one deals with the theft itself. Part of the problem of the issue with the catalytic converters is that they're worth more money on the black market than they are on the legitimate market. My client may buy a handful of them over the year. He buys them from legitimate auto repair shops, or if he gets a wrecked vehicle, he can take it off the wrecked vehicle. He will sell that for maybe $300 or $400 to a reprocessing or refinery. Now, under federal law, you cannot reuse a used catalytic converter. So the idea that you can sell these for somebody else to use is against federal law. So now you're selling this thing to a refiner or a reprocessor for $300 or $400. That processor destroys the catalytic converter, takes the internals out, and reclaims these valuable rare earth minerals that are the catalyst. Now, as Senator Stone pointed out in the other 243 hearing, there's a value of somewhere between $1,500 and $1,800 worth of value in these rare earth minerals. I can't tell you for sure what the market is on the black market or illegal market, but some of these show back up in a repair shop, a disreputable repair shop. They may be reinstalled on a car and sold for the new catalytic price of $4,000 or $5,000. So consequently,
Mr. Graves, you are.
Wrap it up?
Please.
I can do that.
Thank you.
The only problem we've had is requirement to pay with a check. And I understand that is being fixed in 243, that a bank transfer or ATM payment is going to be made available. And that was one of our concerns. So with that, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I will try to be uncharacteristically brief. Warren Hardy, representing SA Recycling, as well as Nevada Pick Apart. We're in support of SB 250, and thanks Senator Orenshaw for bringing it forward. We do believe this goes hands in hand with 243, and in fact will make Nevada the leader in the country in legislation combating these kinds of thefts. I've worked with Senator Orenshaw and Senator Wynn on this, and it's been very interesting perspective that a lot of people bring. You know, should we buy these? Should we not? Who should be able to use them? I'm more concerned about the single mom or dad who comes out at 6:30 in the morning to try to meet their deadline to get to their job at 6:30 in the morning, and their car doesn't work because a catalytic converter has been stolen, and now is facing a $2,500 to $5,000 to $40,000, depending on the vehicle. So these do work hand in hand. I do appreciate both the senators for taking this seriously and for this legislature for taking this very seriously, and these are going to go a long way to making Nevada the leader in the state and getting rid of this. I will say my clients do not accept them. They will not buy a catalytic converter, even though it's still legal to do. But there's so many nefarious actors in this, and most of them are stolen. We just don't even touch it as a matter of business policy. So with that, Senator Harris, I appreciate the time, and do I see you about one of those robots? Thank you, Senator.
Folks right behind you.
Okay, thank you, Senator. Appreciate it.
All right. All right, I don't see anyone in Las Vegas to testify, so we will go straight to the phones. BPS, anyone on the phone to testify in support of Senate Bill 250?
Thank you, Chair. There are no callers at this time.
All right, anyone here in Carson City who'd like to testify in opposition? Again, still not seeing anyone in Las Vegas. BPS, let's check the phones quickly.
Chair, there are no callers at this time.
Okay, we'll do another round. Anyone here for neutral testimony of Senate Bill 250? All right, no one in Las Vegas either. Anyone on the phone for neutral testimony?
Chair, there are no callers at this time still.
Okay, thank you. With that, Senator Orenshaw, if you want to make some closing comments.
Chair Harris, members of the committee, thank you so much for hearing Senate Bill 250. I appreciate all the testimony in support. I don't think there's a magic bullet that will solve the problem so many of our constituents face, but I think Senate Bill 250 goes a long way towards trying to prevent that resale market from being there. I think, as we heard, Mr. Graves and Senator Hardy, the majority of the scrap metal dealers don't want to even touch these because it's so very unlikely that someone who's trying to resell them was the legal owner, but there's still I think this bill will help try to prevent that. Won't completely solve the problem, but I think it will try to help with that resale market. Just a personal story, my brother-in-law got married about 2 months ago, and he drives an older model truck. It was stolen. It was recovered a couple of weeks later. There were some things taken from the cab, and the catalytic converter was taken too. So I thought of this bill before that, but it's become so prevalent. I don't think it's hard not to meet someone who's been touched by this, and it can be so costly when that's removed from your vehicle. So I appreciate you hearing the bill, and I thank you, and hope you consider processing it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and close out the hearing then on Senate Bill 250 and move into our last item, which is public comment. Anyone in Carson City for public comment? Okay, not seeing anyone in Las Vegas, and we will check the phones, please, for anyone who wants to give some public comment today.
Chair, the lines are open and working, but there are no callers at this time.
All right, thank you. Okay, given that, we will go ahead and adjourn for the day. Have a good one, everybody.